Hello, my friends, and welcome to another story time with Miss Karamy from the Crystal Lake Public Library. Do you know what month April is? It is Poetry Month, and one of my favorite things in the whole world is poetry. I love to read Shakespeare, and I love to read, well, that's probably a little bit too high up, isn't it? Yes, my first introduction to poetry was Shel Silverstein. And he's still one of my absolute favorites. He's a pretty big goofball, just like me. And so I thought today I would share some of my favorite Shel Silverstein poems with you. All right, what do you think? I'm going to start off with one that I think everybody can kind of relate to a little bit. It is called Sick. How many times have we ever just not wanted to go someplace? And so we say, I don't really feel very good, Mom. And she says, Well, this is a very silly poem about somebody being sick. Here we go. I cannot go to school today, said little Peggy Ann McKay. I have measles, I have mumps, a gash, a rash, and purple bumps. My mouth is wet. My throat is dry. I'm going blind in my right eye. My tonsils are as big as rocks. I've counted 16 chicken pox. And there's one more. That's 17. And don't you think my face looks green? My leg is cut. My eyes are blue. I think it might be instamatic flu. A cough, a sneeze, a gasp, a choke. I'm sure that my left leg is broke. Uh-oh. My hip hurts when I move my chin. My belly button's caving in. My back is wrenched. My ankle's sprained. My appendix pains each time it rains. My nose is cold. My toes are numb. I have a sliver in my thumb. My neck is stiff and my voice is weak. I hardly whisper when I speak. I think my hair is falling out. My elbow's bent. My spine ain't straight. My temperature is 108. Oh, my brain is shrunk. I cannot hear. There is a hole inside my ear. I have a hangnail. And my heart is... What? What? What's that you say? You say today is Saturday? Goodbye, I'm going out to play. I love that. It makes me laugh so hard every single time that I read it, because I used to pretend I was sick a whole lot when I was little. I love this one so much because one of my least favorite things in the world is chores. Look at this picture. That is garbage. Garbage. It is trash. And no one has taken it out. Do you have chores? Do your parents like to make you do some work around the house so that you can learn how to be a grown-up? I know, it's not my favorite either, and I am a grown-up. But this is about a little girl who will not take out the trash. Are you ready? Okay. Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. She'd scour pots and scrape the pans, candy the yams and spice the hams, and though her daddy would scream and shout, she simply would not take the garbage out. So it piled up to the ceilings, coffee grounds, potato peelings, brown bananas and rotten peas, chunks of sour cottage cheese. It filled the can. It covered the floor. It cracked the windows and it blocked the door. Uh-oh. With bacon rinds and chicken bones and drippy ends of ice cream cones, prune pits, peach pits, and orange peel, gloppy gumps of cold oatmeal, soggy beans and tangerines, and crusts of black burnt buttered toast, grisly bits of beefy roasts. The garbage rolled on down the hall. It raised the roof. It broke the wall. Greasy napkins and cookie crumbs, globs of gooey bubble gum, cellophane from green bologna, rubbery, blubbery macaroni, peanut butter, caked and dry, curdled milk and crusts from pie, moldy melons, dried up mustard, eggshells mixed with lemon custard. Blah. Cold French fries and rancid meat and yellow lumps of cream of wheat. At last, the garbage reached so high it finally touched the sky, and none of her friends would come to play. And finally, Sarah Cynthia Stout said, "Okay, I'll take the garbage out." But then, of course, it was too late. The garbage reached across the state, from New York to the Golden Gate. And there, in the garbage she did hate, poor Sarah met an awful fate that I cannot right now relate, because the hour is much too late. But children, remember Sarah Stout, and always take the garbage out. Yuck! Green bologna? That's disgusting. All right, how many of you like to go to the dentist? You gonna raise your hands? The dentist? The dentist? You know what? I don't mind the dentist, because after the dentist, I usually get to reach into a treasure chest and take home a special prize. And I like special prizes, don't you? So maybe brushing and flossing is a really good idea, and going to the dentist will help. And you can also get a fun little prize at the end. Plus, I like to spit. I like to spit in that little white thing. I do. And the suction, that's also fun. But this is a poem about a crocodile. Can you imagine that? A crocodile going to the dentist with all those teeth in his mouth. Look at this crocodile. Oh my. He draws the funniest pictures. Look at that. Look at that crocodile. This poem is called The Crocodile's Toothache. Here we go. The crocodile went to the dentist, and he sat down in the chair. And the dentist said, "Now tell me, sir, where does it hurt and where?" And the crocodile said, "I'll tell you the truth. I have a terrible ache in my tooth." And he opened his jaws so wide that the dentist, he climbed right inside. I don't think that I would do that. But the dentist laughed. "Oh, isn't this fun? Ha ha ha." And he pulled the teeth out one by one, and the crocodile cried, "You're hurting me so. Please put on your pliers and let me go." But the dentist just laughed with a ho, ho, ho. And he said, "I still have 12 to go." Oops, that's the wrong one, I confess. But what's one crocodile's tooth, more or less? And then suddenly, the jaws went snap. Oh, and the dentist was gone, right off the map. And guess where he went? Only one could guess. To north or south or east or west. He left no forwarding address. But what's one dentist, more or less? That's also a very funny one. I like that one very much. I do. And this one. How many of you have a grandpa who likes to tell you stories about when he was young, and you think to yourself, that can't possibly be true? It can't, because that seems rather far-fetched. Well, sometimes they're very true stories, and sometimes they might be a little bit sort of true. Yes. Like my grandpa, he had a scar on his belly. And when I was little, I asked him, "Grandpa, what's that scar from?" And he told me that he caught an arrow when he was young. It went right poke in, and then he got a scar from an arrow. And I believed him. I did. But you know what? I don't think it was true. I think he had his appendix out. I do. But this one is called A True Story. Look at that. That looks very true. That looks like a cowboy on a horse, doesn't it? That's going to be a crazy story, isn't it? Should we see if it sounds true? Let's see. It is called True Story. This morning, I jumped on my horse and I went out for a ride. And some wild outlaws chased me and they shot me in the side. And so I crawled into a wildcat's cave to find a place to hide. But some pirates found me sleeping there, and soon they had me tied to a pole and built a fire under me. I almost cried till a mermaid came and cut me loose and begged to be my bride. And so I said I'd come back Wednesday, but I must admit I lied. And then I ran into a jungle swamp, but I forgot my guide and stepped into some quicksand. And no matter how I tried, I couldn't get out until I met a water snake named Clyde, who pulled me to some cannibals who planned to have me fried. But an eagle came and swooped me up, and through the air we flied. But he dropped me in a boiling lake 1,000 miles wide. And you'll never guess what I did then. I died. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Now, this book is called Where the Sidewalk Ends, and it is by Shel Silverstein. And I'm sure some of you have seen it or read a couple funny poems from it. But he has several books. He has Everything on It, A Light in the Attic. There are so many funny poems that he has. So here is a little introduction to poetry for April. I hope that you enjoyed them, and I hope that you look for a poetry book and maybe laugh a little. Enjoy. I'll see you soon. Goodbye, my friends.